Greetings. All right. My volume is up so we can get rocking and rolling. Is you is or is you ain't my baby? Listen, y'all ever watch? I think it was Tom and Jerry. On Tom and Jerry, remember Tom was singing to that female cat. And that song he was singing, boom, 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 and he started playing on the string of the I think was it the mouse? I ain't seen it so long, but I just thought about the title of it. I was like, what can I title today? But I thought about that and thinking about what I switched our reading to. We still read Enoch, but I was in like volume 3 of Legends of the Jews. I'm like, why is this not in volume 1? So I clearly have to read this to y'all today. Good day. Okay, y'all. I ain't even wrote in my notebook. Okay. So I'm gonna tell y'all what it is, y'all. Oh, it's so good. We're gonna read the Sabbath day because I wanted to read that yesterday, but we didn't read about the Sabbath day yesterday. So we're gonna read this quick little blurb on the Sabbath day, but then we're gonna jump right to volume 3 of this, and I'm gonna read y'all what I was talking about when Yahuwah was actually speaking to them from Mount Sinai when he came down. I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. All right, y'all. It is December the 15th, 2020, day 24 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, we are on day 693. 693. Yes, beautiful people. Okay, and so today in Enoch, we're reading Enoch 37. We're just going to read 3 today so we can get right to this. We're going to read Enoch 37, 38, and 39. Good morning, Auntie. Good morning. Greetings, beautiful people. Okay, so let's get started. Enoch chapter 20. I'm sorry, Enoch 37. I'm so excited. Yeah, I be excited every morning about reading the words of Yah. Okay. Enoch 37, y'all. The vision which he saw, the second vision of wisdom, which Enoch saw, the son of Jared, the son of Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, the son of Enosh, the son of Seth, the son of Adam. This is the commencement of the word of wisdom which I received to declare, to tell those who dwell upon earth. Hear from the beginning and understand to the end the holy things which I utter in the presence of Yahuwah Sebawoti. Those who were before thought it good to speak, and let not us who come after obstruct the beginning of wisdom. Until the present period, never has there been given before Yahuwah Sebawoti that which I have received. Wisdom according to the capacity of my intellect and according to the pleasure of Yahuwah Sebawoti. That which I have received from him, a portion of life eternal. And I obtained 3 parables, which I declared to the inhabitants of the world. Enoch chapter 38. Parable the first. When the assembly of the righteous shall be manifested, the sinners shall be judged for their crimes and trouble in the sight of the world. When the righteous one appears in the presence of the righteous themselves, who will be elected for their works, weighed by Yahuwah Sebawoti. And when the light of the righteous and the elect who dwell on the earth shall be manifested, where will the habitation of sinners be? And where the place of rest for those who have rejected Yahuwah Sebawoti? When I say Sebawoti, y'all may have heard Yahuwah say Sebaot or Sebawot, but I heard it pronounced in Bantu, and it's Sebawoti. So it started with the Tsvaoth, but it's Sebawoti. Okay, just in case you didn't know. It would have been better for them had they never been born. It's talking about I'll read that the last sentence again. And where the place of rest for those who have rejected Sebawoti. It would have been better for them had they never been born. When too the secrets of the righteous shall be revealed, Then shall sinners be judged, and impious men shall be afflicted in the presence of the righteous and the elect. From that period, those who possess the earth shall cease to be powerful and exalted, neither shall they be capable of beholding the countenances of the holy. For the light of Yahuwah Sebawoti will have appeared on the face of the holy, the righteous, and the chosen. Yet shall not the mighty kings of that period be destroyed, but be delivered into the hands of the righteous and the holy. Nor thenceforward shall any obtain commiseration from Yahuwah Sebawoti, because their lives will have been completed. Enoch Chapter 39. In those days, the elect and holy race descend from the upper heavens, and their seed shall then be with the sons of men. Enoch received Sephirim, or scrolls, of indignation and wrath, and the scrolls of hurry and agitation. Never shall they obtain mercy, says Yahuwah Sebawoti. A cloud then snatched me up, and the wind raised me above the surface of the earth, placing me at the extremity of the heavens. There I saw another vision. I saw the habitations and the resting places of the holy ones. There my eyes beheld their habitations with the angels, and their resting places with the holy ones. They were entreating, supplicating, and praying for the sons of men, while righteousness like water flowed before them, and mercy like the dew over the earth, and thus with them forever and ever. And at that time, my eyes beheld the dwelling of the elect of truth, belief, and righteousness. Countless shall be the number of the holy and the elect in the presence of Yahuwah forever and ever. And their residence I beheld under the wings of Sebawoti. All the holy and the elect sung before him in appearance like a blazing fire, their mouths being full of blessing and their lips glorifying the name of Yahuwah Sebawoti. And righteousness was incessantly before him. There was I desirous of remaining, and my soul longed for that habitation. There was my antecedent inheritance. There was my antecedent inheritance. For thus had I prevailed before Yahuwah Sebawoti, and at that time I glorify and extol the name of Yahuwah Sebawoti with blessing and with praise, for he has established it with blessing and with praise according to his own pleasure. That place long did my eyes contemplate. I blessed and said, Blessed be he, blessed from the beginning forever. In the beginning, before the world was created, and without end is his knowledge. What is this world? Of every existing generation, those shall bless you who do not sleep, but stand before your glory, blessing, glorifying, exalting you, and saying, The holy, holy Yahuwah Sebawoti fills the whole world of spirits. There my eyes beheld all who, without sleeping, stand before him and bless him, saying, Blessed be you, and blessed be the name of Yahuwah forever and ever. Then my countenance became changed until I was incapable of seeing. Okay, y'all. So those are 3 chapters today from Enoch. And so now we're about to hop right over here to the legends of the Jews. Shalom, shalom, mother. Yes, great to be here once more, Aliyah. Okay, y'all. So let me make sure I get my place back here. Oh, guys, it's called the Revelation. Oh man. Oh, okay. So because I forgot, I wanted to read this too. Oh man. Do I have no? Okay, those are really short. But this whole part. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Okay. Went to the Revelation, the first commandment. Okay. All right, y'all. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay, because I forgot I had to read this portion too. Okay, so we're gonna leave this right here. We're gonna do both of these. They're both really short. Okay, so on page 31, we're gonna start with the Sabbath in heaven, and then we're gonna jump right over here to page 33 and read the Book of Raziel, which apparently We should have that too. Okay, so it's all gonna go together. Yes, the reading the other day about the cat and the mouse made me think of the cartoon. I know, right? I thought about that too, Trina. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, if you got the book, you can follow along. Page 31. And for those of you who don't have the book, who would like to get it, in the description box today and in the last week, you can see the link if you want to purchase it from Amazon. I went up there last night, guys, and they lowered the price. It was $35, and I looked at last night, and it dropped from $35 to $17. So I'm like, wait a minute, is this the same book? And I had to go through a check. It had all 4 volumes and everything. So I don't know. For those of you who may want it, I don't know. Been praying for it to drop in price. It has dropped from $35 to $17. So I just wanted to let you know that. But you can also listen to it on YouTube. There's a link where you can listen to it. And also, if you want to read it online for free, it's also there. Just click on it. And when you click on it, it'll go to like the first chapter. But if you go up under the scrolling bar where it had, the internet bar where it has the web address sacredtext.com. If you look under that, you will see the blue icons on the page, and it'll have like previous, next. But if you hit index, INDEX, it will bring up Legends of the Jews and all the table of contents. So you can jump from volume 1 to volume 2 to volume 3 to volume 4 and the little sub chapters in between. So just in case you didn't know how to get there, that's how. Click index and all the chapters for the book will pop up and you can go in. Okay. Sabbath in heaven. Before the world was created, there was none to praise Yahuwah and know him. Therefore, he created the angels and the holy Hayat, the heavens and their hosts, and Adam as well. They were all to praise and glorify their creator. During the week of creation, however, there was no suitable time to proclaim the splendor and praise of Yahuwah, only on the Sabbath. When all creation rested, the beings on earth and in heaven all together broke into song and adoration when Yahuwah ascended his throne and sat upon it. It was the throne of joy upon which he sat, and he had all the angels pass before him, the angel of the water, the angel of the rivers, the angel of the mountains, the angel of the hills, the angel of the abysses, the angel of the deserts, the angel of the sun, the angel of the moon, the angel of the Pleiades, the angel of Orion. If you didn't know what Pleiades and Orion are, they're stars in the sky. Okay, yeah, it's the same book. So yeah, selling for 30. One is selling for 35 and one for 17. Go for the cheaper one, y'all. Somebody might be seeing that they're being purchased and they lowered their price, but it's the same book. I checked it out because I ordered 2 more yesterday. So it's there. Get it if you don't have it. Or if you want to get one for somebody, it's there. You can get 2 for the price of 1. Okay. The angel of the moon, the angel of the Pleiades, the angel of Orion, the angel of the herbs, the angel of paradise, the angel of Gehenna, the angel of the trees, the angel of the reptiles, the angel of the wild beasts, the angel of the domestic animals, the angel of the fish, the angel of the locusts, the angel of the birds, the chief angel of the angels, the angel of each heaven, the chief angel of each division of the heavenly hosts, the chief angel of the holy Hayat, the chief angel of the cherubim, the chief angel of the Ophanim, and all the other splendid, terrible, and mighty chiefs. They all appeared before Yahuwah with great joy, laved in a stream of joy, and they rejoiced and danced and sang and extolled Yahuwah with many praises and instruments. The ministering angels began, "Let the Lord of glory endure forever." And the rest of the angels looked up, and the rest of the angels took up the song with the words, "Let the Lord rejoice in his works." Arabat, the 7th heaven, was filled with joy and splendor and glory and strength and power and might and pride and magnificence and grandeur, praise and jubilation, song and gladness, steadfastness and righteousness, honor and adoration. Then Yahuwah bade the angel of the Sabbath seat himself upon the throne of glory, and he brought before him the chiefs of the angels of all the heavens and all the abysses, and bade them dance and rejoice, saying, "Sabbath it is unto the Lord. And the exalted princes of the heavens responded, unto Yahuwah it is Sabbath. Even Adam was permitted to ascend to the highest heaven to take part in the rejoicing over the Sabbath, by bestowing Sabbath joy upon all beings, not excepting Adam. Thus did Yahuwah dedicate his creation, seeing the majesty of the Sabbath, its honor and greatness, and the joy it conferred upon all, being the fount of all joy. Adam intoned a song of praise for the Sabbath day. Then Yahuwah said to him, Thou singest a song of praise to the Sabbath day, and singest none to me, the God of the Sabbath. Thereupon the Sabbath rose from his seat and prostrated himself before Yahuwah, saying, It is good to give thanks unto the Lord, and the whole of creation added, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High. It was the first Sabbath, and its celebration in heaven by Yahuwah and the angels. The angels were informed that the same time that in days to come, Israel would hallow the day in similar manner. Yahuwah told them, I will set aside for myself a people from among the peoples. This people will observe the Sabbath, and I will sanctify it to be my people, and I will be God unto it. From all that I have seen, I have chosen the seed of Israel holy, and I have inscribed him as my firstborn, and I sanctified him unto myself unto all eternity, him and the Sabbath, that he keep the Sabbath and hallow it from all work. For Adam, the Sabbath had a peculiar significance. When he was made to depart out of paradise in the twilight of Sabbath Eve, the angels called after him. Adam did not abide in his glory overnight. Then the Sabbath appeared before Yahuwah as Adam's defender, and he spoke, O Lord of the world, during the 6 working days, no creature was slain. If thou wilt begin now by slaying Adam, what will become of the sanctity and the blessing of the Sabbath? In this way, Adam was rescued from the fires of hell, the meek punishment for his sins, and in gratitude he composed a psalm in honor of the Sabbath, which David later embodied as his psalter. Still another opportunity was given to Adam to learn and appreciate the value of the Sabbath, the celestial light worldwide, whereby Adam could survey the world from end to end, should properly have been made to disappear immediately after his sin. But out of consternation for the Sabbath, Yahuwah had let this light continue to shine, and the angels at sundown on the 6th day intoned a song of praise and thanksgiving to Yahuwah for the radiant light shining through the night. Okay, now remember this celestial light. Remember when we read about the soul of man and what happens before we actually enter into the sperm of our father and then into the womb of our mother? What happens at conception? Remember when we read that? Remember the angel that shows us our life before we come here. Remember, we are shown all of that. That's what they're talking about when they say the celestial light. It explains it back then. The celestial light is a gift that Yahuwah had given us. It was a gift that he bestowed upon us, whereby you have seers. They have they don't have that. Yahuwah give them glimpses of that when he wants to get a message to his people, or he wants to show them something. But that was something that was just there. It was a light. It was a gift. Just like we have eyes to see, that celestial light was on permanently for us. And we could see from the beginning all the way to the end. That's why as we read, you will see some of the things that they passed down. It was passed down from Adam, but after that point where Yahuwah cut that light off, it says right here, he didn't take that celestial light from him immediately. He waited until after the Sabbath was over. So after the Sabbath was over, he cut that light off from Adam, and he could no longer see from that point everything else. Yahuwah was telling him what happened, but he had saw all generations. Remember when we read about when he first created Adam, he saw the generation of its prophets. Every generation, all the way into the end of time, every generation of all the people who were born in each generation, everybody by their name, the pious, the impious, the leaders, the prophets, the priests, all of them Adam had seen. That's what the celestial light did for us. Also, we have the celestial light before we enter into this world. That celestial light at the time of birth, when we are flipped over on our nose, that angel that took us and showed us everything from the beginning of our life all the way to the end, to when we would return to Yah, when we flipped over on our stomach, right before we went through the birth canal, it says the angel put out the celestial light. We could no longer see when we come into this world. When a celestial light is put out, we are made to forget everything about our life that Yahuwah so graciously showed us before we entered this world. And remember when y'all have deja vu moments? That's portions of what we were shown about our life that's coming back to us. And we realized that when we was reading this a few days ago. So if you have those deja vu moments, realize that portions of what we were shown about our lives here while we're walking through it, and what would happen and what we would do. So just remember that deja vu moments. I would ask, oh, Father, okay, I've been here before. Wait a minute. Okay, Father, why did you show me this point at this time? Why did I just have that moment? Show me more. Reveal to me. We can inquire of Yah to open that back up and to help us to guide our days. Like, seriously. Okay. So I just want to remind you of that, what the celestial light is. Okay. Only with going out of the Sabbath day, the celestial light ceased, and to the consternation of Adam, who feared that the serpent would attack him in the dark. But Yahuwah illuminated his understanding, and he learned to rub two stones against each other to produce the light for his needs. The celestial light was but one of the 7 precious gifts Adam enjoyed before the fall, and to be granted to man again only in the messianic time. So we're going to get that. We're going to get that gift back along with some of these others I'm about to list here, but only during that time. I read this again. The celestial light was but one of the 7 precious gifts enjoyed by Adam before the fall, and to be granted to man again only in the messianic time. The others are the resplendence of his countenance. Remember how the glory and the light of Yah just radiated from his face. We heard about it also with Enoch and with Moses. And he shines so bright with the glory of Yah that he had to cover his face, right? But we're going to read something else today about the resplendence of their countenance when we jump back here. So I'm glad I decided to read this, because I forgot this was here, because it's really going to connect us to this back here. Okay. The others are the resplendence of his countenance, life eternal, his tall stature, the fruits of the soil, the fruits of the trees, and the luminaries of the sky, the sun and the moon. For in the world to come, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be 7-fold. Okay. All right, so we're going to read the Book of Raziel, and then we're about to hop right back here. After Adam's expulsion from paradise, he prayed to Yahuwah in these words: O Yahuwah, Lord of the world, thou didst create the whole world unto the honor and glory of the Mighty One, and thou did as was pleasing unto thee. Thy kingdom is unto all eternity, and thy reign unto all generations. Naught is hidden from thee, or nothing is hidden from thee, and nothing is concealed from thine eyes. Thou did create me as thy handiwork, and did make me the ruler over thy creatures, that I might be the chief of thy works. But the cunning, accursed serpent seduced me with the tree of desire and lust. Yea, he seduced the wife of my bosom. But thou didst not make known unto me what shall befall my children and the generations after me. I know well that no human being can be righteous in thine eyes. And what is my strength that I should step before thee with an impudent face? I have no mouth wherewith to speak, and no eye wherewith to see. For I did sin and commit a trespass, and by reason of my sins I was driven from paradise. I must plow the earth whence I was taken, and the other inhabitants of the earth, the beasts, no longer, as once, stand in awe and fear of me. From the time I ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, wisdom departed from me, and I am a fool that knoweth nothing, an ignorant man that understandeth nothing. Now, O merciful and gracious God, I pray unto thee, turn again thy compassion to thy head of thy works, to the spirit which thou did instill into him, and the soul thou did breathe into him. Meet me with thy grace, for thou art gracious, slow to anger, and full of love. Oh, that my prayer would reach unto the throne of thy glory, and my supplication unto the throne of thy mercy, that thou would incline to me with loving kindness. May the words of my mouth be acceptable, that thou turn not away from my petition. Thou art from everlasting, thou wilt be unto everlasting. Thou art king, and thou wilt ever be king. Now have thou mercy upon the work of thy hands. Grant me knowledge and understanding, that I may know what shall befall me and my posterity, and all the generations that come after me, and what shall befall me on every day and every month. And mayest thou not withhold from me the help of thy servants and thy angels. On the third day, after he had offered up this prayer, while he was sitting on the banks of the river that flowed forth out of paradise, there appeared to him in the heat of the day the angel Raziel, bearing a book in his hand. The angel addressed Adam thus: O Adam, why art thou so faint-hearted? Why art thou distressed and anxious? Thy words were heard at the moment when thou didst utter thy supplication and entreaties, and I have received the charge to teach thee pure words and deep understanding, to make thee wise through the contents of the sacred book in my hand, to know what will happen to thee until the day of thy death, and all thy descendants and all the later generations, if they would but read this book in purity. All right, let me tell. And all thy descendants and all the later generations, if they will but read this book in purity, a devout heart and humble mind, and obey its precepts, will become like unto thee. They too will foreknow what things shall happen, and in what month, and on what day, and in what night. All will be manifest to them. They will know and understand whether a calamity will come, a famine or wild beast, floods or drought, whether there be abundance of grain or dirt, whether the wicked will rule the world, whether locusts will devastate the land, whether the fruits will drop from the trees unripe, whether boils will afflict men, whether wars will prevail, or disease or plagues among men and cattle, whether good is resolved upon in heaven or evil, whether blood will flow and the death rattle of the slain be heard in the city. And now, Adam, come and give heed unto what I shall tell thee regarding the manner of this book and its holiness. Why don't we have this book, right? The book of Raziel. That's the whatever book he's holding in his hand. We need to know these things. He said, if thy posterity would heed the words in this book, then they should be as thou will be. And we will know everything, right? Like even what's going on now in here. If we had this wisdom, like, Father, we ask you right now, give us this book. What this angel is talking about that he about to reveal to Adam, we need this. I don't know. This could be a portion of it. Now we're knowing that we need this, and we could be shown this. We could cry out to Yah and ask him for this, so we can be helped with much help in this day. All right. I'm super excited about this, y'all, because I be trying this stuff. I don't know about y'all, but I'm like, Father, look what I read today. Can you bestow that upon thy maid servant? Forgive me for all my sins I've ever committed. And forgive my ancestors all the way back to Adam. But a sister needs this wisdom today. Like, for real, y'all. I don't even be playing. I be praying them type of prayers for real. Okay. Raziel, the angel, then read from the book. And when Adam heard the words of the holy volume as they issued from the mouth of the angel, he fell down affrighted. But the angel encouraged him. Arise, Adam. He said, be of good courage and be not afraid. Take the book from me and keep it, For thou wilt draw knowledge from it thyself and become wise. Thou wilt also teach its contents to all those who shall be found worthy of knowing what it contains. In the moment when Adam took the book, a flame of fire shot up from near the river. The angel arose heavenward with it. Then Adam knew that he who had spoken to him was an angel of Yahuwah, and it was from the holy king himself that the book had come, and he used it in holiness and purity. It is the book out of which all things worth knowing can be learned, and all mysteries. And it teaches also how to call upon the angels and make them appear before men and answer all their questions. But not all alike can use the book. Only he who is wise and God-fearing and resorts to it in holiness. Y'all hear that? Okay, so if y'all ever get access to the opportunity for this, that means that you were counted worthy. Listen, but not all alike can use the book. Only he who is wise and God-fearing. Father, make us wise and God-fearing. And resorts to it in holiness. Such a one is secure against all wicked counsels. His life is serene, and when death takes him from this world, he finds repose in a place where there are neither demons nor evil spirits, and out of the hands of the wicked he is quickly rescued. Okay, so now let's jump back here, y'all. Okay, so we're jumping back here. If you have the book, it's page 270, and it is volume 3. Volume 3. And from volume 3, it's from the Exodus to the death of Moses. Oh my gosh, y'all got to read about the death of Moses. Oh my gosh, it only tells us a little bit about what happened. We know that Yahuwah himself buried the body of Moses, but if you go through and listen to the details of everything leading up to the day he was born and the conversations between him and Yah, Moses didn't want to go. I'm gonna just tell y'all that he wasn't trying to bribe y'all, but he was like, Father, let me just stay here. Just put, I can be under Joshua's leadership and I'll submit to him. And Yahuwah said, no, because if the people still see you, they won't honor Joshua. So you gotta go. You gotta go, bro. You gotta go. Okay. I'm just letting y'all know. So if y'all want to read ahead or listen to it, I'll post that today for those of you who are interested in it, because we're gonna come to that. It's gonna be when we get back to Exodus after we finish Enoch. But if you want to listen ahead or read ahead, I'll post the link for you to listen to it, because they have a section in YouTube that pulls just that portion out where you can listen to that. Blow your mind. Okay. Israel prepares for, hold on. Do I read right here? Okay. Yeah. Israel prepares for the revelation. Just as one who is to be admitted to the assembly of the righteous in Torah must first submit to the 3 ceremonies of circumcision, baptism, and sacrifice. So Israel did not receive the Torah until they had performed these 3 ceremonies. But up here it says, remember the guy that wrote this, he's a Jewish person, but he says up here, just as one who is to be admitted to Judaism must first submit to the 3 ceremonies of circumcision, baptism, and sacrifice. So Israel did not receive the Torah until they performed these 3 ceremonies. I just changed the wording of that so you wouldn't get thrown off on words, but this is what he's saying based on his experience, and as he's translating, he's likening it to this. Just like here in Judaism, they practice this. This is what also the children of Israel had to do before they received the revelation from Yah. Okay. I'll read that again and then we'll keep going. Just as one who is to be admitted to Judaism must first submit to 3 ceremonies of circumcision, baptism, and sacrifice, so Israel did not receive the Torah until they had performed these 3 ceremonies. They had already undergone circumcision in Egypt. Baptism was imposed upon them 2 days before the revelation on Mount Sinai. On the day preceding the revelation, Moses recorded in a book the covenant between Israel and their God, and on the morning of the day of the revelation, sacrifices were offered as a strengthening of the covenant. As there were no priests at that time, the service was performed by the elders of Israel, who, in spite of their age, performed their duty with youthful vigor. Moses erected an altar on Mount Sinai, as well as 12 memorial pillars, one for each tribe, and then bade them all bring bulls as a burnt offering and a peace offering. The blood of these animals was then separated exactly into two halves. This was attended to by the angel Michael, who guided Moses' hand and so conducted the separation of the blood, that there might not be one drop more in one half than in the other. Yahuwah upon this said to Moses, sprinkle one half of the blood upon the people as a token that they will not barter my glory for the idols of other people, and sprinkle the other half on the altar as a token that I would not exchange them for any other nation. Pay attention, y'all. Here are the detailed terms of this covenant and what Yahuwah did. It's about to blow your mind. Listen, Moses did as he was bidden, and lo, the miracle came to pass that the blood of a few animals sufficed to sprinkle every single Israelite. Before this, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on, 1 second. Okay, I think it's in here. You know what? I was looking for a subheading where it says that, oh, snap. Okay. I'm going to need to go back a page to show you that the Gentiles, I thought it was right after this, but it was before this. I meant to read that first. Okay, but I'm going to read it after this. The Gentiles denied Yahuwah, right? He gave them an opportunity for him to be their mighty one, for them to have Yahuwah as their God, but they outright said, no, we don't want you, right? Okay. Before this covenant between Yahuwah and Israel had been made, Moses read aloud to the people all of the Torah, that they might know exactly what they were taking upon themselves. This covenant was made a second time in the desert of Moab by Moses, and a third time by Joshua after the entrance into the promised land on the mountains of Gizim and Ebal. Although the people had now clearly expressed their desire to accept the Torah, still Yahuwah hesitated to give it to them, saying, shall I without further ado give you the Torah? Nay, bring me bondsmen. Oh, man. Let me pause right here. Yeah, let me pause right here at this paragraph and let me back up. I'm sorry. I thought it was right here. Okay. We're going to jump to page 267. The Gentiles refused the Torah. Okay, y'all. The mountain on which Yahuwah made his revelation bears 6 names. It is called the Desert of Sin because Yahuwah there announced his commandments. It is called the Desert Kadesh because Israel was sanctified there. The Desert Kadmot because the pre-existing Torah was there revealed. The Desert Paran because Israel there was greatly multiplied. The Desert Sinai because the hatred of Yahuwah against the heathens began there, for the reason that they would not accept the Torah, and for the same reason it is called Horror, because the annihilation of the heathens was there decreed by Yahuwah. For the wrath of Yahuwah against the heathens dates from their refusal to accept the Torah offered to them. But Yahuwah gave Israel the Torah. He approached every tribe and nation and offered them the Torah, that hereafter they might not have no excuse to say, had the Holy One, blessed be he, desired to give us the Torah, we should have accepted it. He went to the children of Esau and said, will ye accept the Torah? They answered him, saying, what is written therein? He answered them, thou shalt not kill. Then they all said, would thou perchance take from us the blessing which our father Esau was blessed? For he was blessed with the words, by thy sword shalt thou live. We do not accept the Torah. Thereupon he went to the children of Lot and said to them, will ye accept the Torah? They said, what is written therein? He answered, thou shalt not commit unchastity. They said, from unchastity do we spring. We do not accept the Torah. Then he went to the children of Ishmael and said to them, Do ye want to accept the Torah? They said to him, What is written therein? He said, Thou shalt not steal. They said, Wilt thou take from us the blessing which our father was blessed? Yahuwah promised him, his hand will be against every man. Okay, Sweetie, you need to sit right here. Back up right here. You can't sit on my lap. You can't sit on my lap. I'm going to take it back upstairs. Have a seat. Have a seat. Sit right there and quiet. Okay. Okay, chill. Okay. She just woke up, y'all. Then he went to the children of Ishmael and said to them, Do ye want to accept the Torah? They said to him, What is written therein? He answered, Thou shalt not steal. They said, Wilt thou take from us the blessing which our father was blessed? Yahuwah promised him, his hand will be against every man. We do not want to accept thy Torah. Thence he went to all the other nations, who likewise rejected the Torah, saying, We cannot give up the law of our fathers. We do not want thy Torah. Give it to thy people Israel. Upon this he came to Israel and spoke to them, Will ye accept the Torah? They said to him, What is written therein? He answered, 613 commandments. They said, All that Yahuwah has spoken, we will do and be obedient. O Lord of the world, they continued, we acted in accordance to thy commandments before they were revealed to us. Jacob fulfilled the first 10 commandments by bidding his sons to put away strange gods that were among them. Abraham obeyed the commandment not to take the name of Yahuwah in vain, for he said, I have lifted up my hand unto Yahuwah, the Most High God. Joseph fulfilled the commandment to remember the Sabbath and to keep it holy. And when his brothers came to him, he had everything for their welcome prepared on Friday. Isaac observed the law to honor his father and his mother when he allowed Adam to bind him on the altar as a sacrifice. Judah observed the commandment not to kill when he said to his brothers, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Joseph observed the law, Thou shalt not commit adultery, when he repulsed the desire of the wife of Potiphar. The other sons of Jacob observed the commandment, Thou shalt not steal, saying, How then should we steal out of thy Lord's house silver and gold? Abraham observed thy commandment, Thou shalt not bear false witness, for he was a true witness and bore witness before all the world that thou art the Lord of all creation. It was Abraham also who observed the last 10 commandments, that thou shalt not covet, saying, I will not take from thee even a shoe latchet. Okay, y'all. So now we'll read the Torah offered to Israel. On the second day of the third month, Moses received the word from Yahuwah to betake himself to Mount Sinai, for without this direct summons, he would not have gone there. This time, as at all times when Yahuwah desired to speak with Moses, he twice called him by name, and he answered, Here I am. Yahuwah's revelation to him followed. When Moses had been carried to Yahuwah in a cloud, which was always ready to bear him to God and restore him to men, Yahuwah said to him, Go and acquaint the women of Israel with the principles of Torah, and try with kindly words to persuade them to accept the Torah, but expound the full contents of the Torah to the men, and with them speak solemn words concerning it. Listen, ladies, there were several reasons for his going to the women first. Yahuwah said, When I created the world, I gave my commandment concerning the forbidden fruit to Adam only, and not his wife Eve. And the omission had the effect that she tempted Adam to sin. Hence, it appears advisable that the women first hear my commandments, and the men will then follow their counsel. Yahuwah furthermore knew that women are more scrupulous in their observance of religious precepts, and hence he first addressed himself to them. Then, too, Yahuwah expected the women to instruct their children in the ways of Torah, wherefore he sent the messenger to them first. The words that Moses was to address to the women as well as to the men to the Sanhedrin as well as to the people were as follows. You yourselves have seen it, for it is not from writing or through tradition or from the mouths of others that ye learnt it, what I did for you in Egypt. For although they were idolaters, slayers of men, the men of lewd living, still I punished them not for these sins, but only for the wrong done to you. But ye will I carry on the wings of eagles on the day of the revelation at Sinai, and ye will I bring to me when the temple shall be erected, since I have wrought for you so many miracles, even before you had received the Torah and observed the laws. How many more miracles will I work for you when you have received the Torah and observed the laws? The beginning of all things is hard, but as soon as you have grown accustomed to obedience, all else will be easy for you. If you will now observe the Abrahamic covenant, the Sabbath, and the commandment against idolatry, then you will be my possession. For although everything belongs to me, Israel will be my especial possession, because I led them out of Egypt and freed them from bondage. With respect to Israel, Yahuwah is like one who received many fields as a heritage, but he purchased himself the one he earned. But the one he purchased himself and the one he earned was dearest to his heart. I will reign alone over you as my possession and none other, so as long as you keep yourselves aloof from other peoples. If not, other people shall reign over you. But if you obey me, you shall be a nation, not only free from care, but also a nation of priests and a holy nation. If Israel had not sinned through worshiping the golden calf, there would be among them no case of priests. The nation would have been a nation of priests. And it was only after their sin that the greater part of the people lost the right to priesthood. Now Yahuwah instructed Moses to transmit to the people his words without adding to them or diminishing from them, in the precise order and in the same tongue, the Hebrew. Moses hereupon betook himself to the people to deliver this message without first seeing his family. He first addressed the word of Yahuwah to the elders, for he never forgot the honor or due the elders. Then, in simple and well-arranged form, he repeated it to all people, including the women, joyfully and of his own impulse. Every Israelite declared himself willing to accept the Torah, whereupon Moses returned to Yahuwah to inform him of the decision of the people. For although God, being omniscient, had no need of hearing from Moses the answer of the people, still propriety demands that one who is sent on a message return to make a report of his success to him who sent him. Yahuwah hereupon said to Moses, I will come to thee in a thick cloud and repeat to thee the commandments that I gave thee on Marah, so that what thou tellest them may seem to the people as important as what they hear from me. But not only in thee shall they have faith, but also in the prophets and sages that will come after thee. Moses then returned to the people once more and explained to them the serious effects that disregard of the law would have upon them. The first time he spoke to them about the Torah, he expounded its excellence to them, so to induce them to accept it. But now he spoke to them of the terrible punishments they would bring upon themselves if they did not observe the laws. And we can look through history and see what disobeying Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands has gotten our people. It's plastered everywhere for the entire world to see what all manner of wickedness has been done to our people. Why? Because we did not keep to this. We did not keep to this. The people did not, however, alter their resolution, but were full of joy in the expectation of receiving the Torah. They only wished Moses to voice to Yahuwah their desire to hear him, impart his words directly to him. So they said to Moses, "We want to hear the words of our king from himself." They were not even content with this, but wanted to see the divine presence, for hearing is not like seeing. Yahuwah granted both their wishes and commanded Moses to tell the people to prepare themselves the next 2 days for receiving the Torah. And then, y'all, we hop back over here to where we first started, right? So I'm going to skip back down to here. Remember, he's telling him that they need to begin to prepare themselves, for Yahuwah is coming to see us all in 2 days. Okay. I read the last sentence of this paragraph. Moses did as he was bidden, and lo, the miracle came. Remember, Yahuwah told him to take the animals for sacrifice, right? And Michael, the archangel, Michael was there to guide him. Moses did as he was bidden, and lo, the miracle came to pass that the blood of a few animals sufficed to sprinkle every Israelite. Before this covenant between Yahuwah and Israel had been made, Moses read aloud to the people all of the Torah, that they might know exactly what they were taking upon themselves. This covenant was made a second time in the desert of Moab by Moses, and a third time by Joshua after the entrance into the promised land on the mountains of Gerizim and Ebal. Although the people had now clearly expressed their desire to accept Torah, Yahuwah still hesitated to give it to them, saying, "Shall I without further ado give you the Torah? Nay, bring me bondsmen, that you will observe it, and I will give you Torah." Israel, O Lord of the world, our fathers are bondsmen for us. Yahuwah, your fathers are my debtors, and therefore are not good bondsmen. Abraham said, "Whereby shall I know it?" and thus proved himself lacking in faith. Isaac loved Esau, whom I hated, and Jacob did not immediately upon his return from Padan Aram keep his vow that he had made upon his way there. Bring me good bondsmen, and I will give you the Torah. Israel, our prophets shall be our bondsmen. Yahuwah, I have claims against them, for like foxes in a desert became your prophets. Bring me good bondsmen, and I will give you the Torah. So there's this conversation going on between Yahuwah and the children of Israel. He said, because he's saying, "Shall I go ahead and give it to you?" He said, "No, I need some kind of like collateral from y'all. Like you go to the bank, listen, we're going to pay you back. We're going to keep to the terms of this contract." Sometimes they just don't believe us because, not that you are malicious in your intent, that you just going to steal the money, but sometimes life happens. So he said, bring me bondsmen, Okay. Bring me good bondsmen, and I will give you the Torah. Israel, we will give thee our children as bondsmen. And remember, when they were we read in like Exodus and stuff, and how they say, "Oh, let this rest, let it rest upon our children and our children's children." Like, I was like, man, they just giving us up, huh? But listen to this. They gave us up, but Yahuwah, just listen, you'll see what I'm talking about. Bring me good bondsmen, and I will give you the Torah. Israel, we will give thee our children as bondsmen. Yahuwah, well then, these are good bondsmen, on whose bond I will give you the Torah. Hereupon the Israelites brought their wives with their babies at their breasts, and their pregnant wives. Listen to this. And Yahuwah made the bodies of the pregnant women transparent as glass, and he addressed the children in the womb with these words: Behold, I will give your fathers the Torah. Will ye be surety for them that they will observe it? Now I'm like, what? But remember what we read before, how souls are created. Remember, while the baby is still in the womb, up until the day that the celestial light is put out, they can still see and They know everything. I said, so this makes sense that you're talking to them. They can hear you. Like they can clearly hear you, right? So he began to talk to the babies in the womb, right? I'm like, shoot, I'm kind of thinking I might want to have another child just so I can talk to the baby, like purposely, on purpose, knowing that this child has a celestial light in him until the day he would be born, and just talk to this baby, knowing that the baby can understand and hear. Like it's been proven that the babies can understand in the womb, right? Think about some of these things. Oh, it blows my mind. Okay, let me finish reading. Let me read this last sentence. Hereupon the Israelites brought their wives with their babies at their breasts and their pregnant wives, and Yahuwah made the bodies of the pregnant women transparent as glass. And he addressed the children in the womb with these words, Behold, I will give your fathers the Torah. Will you be surety for them that they will observe it? They answered, Yea. He furthermore said, I am your God. They answered, Yea. And ye shall have no other gods. They said, Nay. In this wise, the children in the womb answered every commandment with yea, and every prohibition with nay, as it was the little children upon whose bond Yahuwah gave his people the Torah. It comes to pass that many little children die when Israel does not when Israel does not observe the Torah. It makes you think, right? The revelation on Mount Sinai. From the first day of the third month, the day on which Israel arrived at Mount Sinai, a heavy cloud rested upon them, and everyone except Moses was forbidden to ascend to the mountain. Yea, they durst not even stay near it, lest Yahuwah smite those who push forward with hail or fiery arrows. The day of the revelation announced itself as an ominous day, even in the morning, for diverse rumblings sounded from Mount Sinai, flashes of lightning accompanied by an ever-swelling peal of horns moved the people with mighty fear and trembling. Yahuwah bent the heavens, moved the earth, and shook the bounds of the world, so that the depths trembled, and the heavens grew frightened. His splendor passed through the four portals of fire, earthquake, storm, and hail. The kings of the earth trembled in their palaces, and they all came to the villain Balaam and asked him if Yahuwah intended the same fate for them as for the generation of the flood. But Balaam said to them, O ye fools, the Holy One, blessed be he, has long since promised Noah never again to punish the world with a flood. The kings of the heathen, however, were not quieted, and furthermore said, Yahuwah has indeed promised never again to bring a flood upon the world, but perhaps he now means to destroy it by means of fire. Balaam said, Nay, Yahuwah will not destroy the world either through fire or through water. The commotion throughout nature was caused through this only. He is not about to bestow, that he is not about, hold on, I'm reading that too fast. The commotion throughout nature was caused through this only, that he is now about to bestow the Torah upon his people. The Eternal will give strength unto his people. At this, all the kings shouted, May the Eternal bless his people with peace, and each one, quieted in spirit, went to his house. So everybody else, about this time where Yahuwah was about to give the Torah to the children of Israel, all the earth was shaking and the people was afraid. Because remember, if we think back to the flood, remember when Yahuwah was about to bring the flood, he said at one last one last ditch effort to save this generation before he brought the flood, because he said, had they repented and turned from their wicked ways, he would have relented about the great evil or the flood he was about to bring upon the earth. So the last great evil that Yahuwah brought before the flood came was an earthquake. And the people here in this day knew that. So when everything started shaking and quaking, they got scared and they went to the soothsayer Balaam and they said, listen, is he about to destroy us again? So he said, no, calm down. What you're hearing is Yahuwah about to bestow, his Torah upon his people. So, kind of ease them a little bit. and each one quieted in his spirit went to his house. Just as the inhabitants of the earth were alarmed at the revelation and believed the end of all time had arrived, so too did the earth. She thought the resurrection of the dead was about to take place, and she would have to account for the blood of the slain that she had absorbed, and for the bodies of the murdered whom she covered. The earth was not calm until she heard the first words of the Decalogue. Although phenomena were perceptible on Mount Sinai in the morning, still Yahuwah did not reveal himself to the people until noon, for owing to the brevity of the summer nights and the pleasantness of the morning sleep in summer, the people were still asleep when Yahuwah had descended upon Mount Sinai. Moses betook himself to the encampment and awakened them with these words: "Arise from your sleep. The bridegroom is at hand and is waiting to lead his bride under the marriage canopy." Moses, at the head of the procession, hereupon brought the nations to its bridegroom under the marriage canopy. I'm sorry. Hold on. I went back up. Moses, at the head of the procession, hereupon brought the nation to its bridegroom, Yahuwah, to Sinai, himself going up to the mountain. He said to Yahuwah, "Announce thy words, thy children are ready to obey them." These words of Moses rang out near and far, for on the occasion his voice, when he repeated the words of Yahuwah to the people, had as much power as the divine voice that he heard. It was not indeed quite of their own free will that Israel had declared themselves ready to accept the Torah, for when the whole nation, in two divisions, men and women, approached Sinai, Yahuwah lifted up this mountain and held it over the heads of the people like a basket, saying to them, "If you accept the Torah, it is well. Otherwise, you will find your grave under this mountain." I'm like, God darn it. Let me read that again. It was not indeed quite of their own free will that Israel declared themselves ready to accept the Torah. For when the whole nation, in two divisions, men and women, approached Sinai, Yahuwah lifted up this mountain and held it over the heads of the people like a basket, saying to them, "If ye will accept Torah, it is well. Otherwise, ye will find your graves under this mountain." They all burst into tears and poured out their heart in contrition before Yahuwah, and then said, "All that Yahuwah hath said, we will do and be obedient." Hardly had they uttered these words of submission to Yahuwah when 120 myriads of angels descended and provided every Israelite with a crown and a girdle of glory, divine gifts, which they did not lose until they worshiped the golden calf. Now, there's a place we're going to come to that tells us that when they sinned with the golden calf, there was a divine gift that was taken from them, right? And this also mentions it here. And we don't have that back yet. But listen to what happens to them after Yahuwah, during this process, right? Listen. They all burst into tears and poured out their heart in contrition before Yahuwah, and then said, "All that Yahuwah hath said, we will do and be obedient." Hardly had they uttered these words of submission to Yahuwah when 120 myriads of angels descended and provided every Israelite with a crown and a girdle of glory, divine gifts, which they did not lose until they worshiped the golden calf. When the angels came and took the gifts away from them, at the same time, with these crowns and girdles of glory, a heavenly radiance was shed over their faces, but this also was later lost through their sins. Only Moses retained it, whose face shone so brightly that if even today a crack were made in his tomb, the light emanating from his corpse would be so powerful that it could not but destroy all the world. So you know how, if y'all ever watched that movie, The 10 Commandments, you know how Moses come down from the mountain and his face is covered because the glory of Jah is all over his face. all of them had that same glory upon them. And it said only Moses retained it, because remember when Moses went back up to speak to Yah and he was taking such a long time, these regents hadn't had the gifts. I don't know how long it was, but I want to say he wasn't even up there 24 hours before they started. And it was probably longer. And he was up there 40 days, 40 nights. They was getting restless. They was like, Moses might be dead, so Aaron, come on up here, go ahead and make us a god. I would have been like, look, we just got the gifts from Yah. Get a man a chance to come down. Like, I would have been down there with the Levites, the ones that pulled out the swords. Oh, y'all tripping. When Moses was like, whoever on the Lord's side, I've been right there beside Moses. Hey, they tripping. Moses, look, I'm trying to tell them, your brother Aaron down here acting a fool. He done created I would have told on everybody. Y'all ain't messing up my good heavenly seat. Okay, let me finish. Hold on. After Yahuwah, hold on, let me go back up. Let me read this again. They all burst into tears and poured out their heart in contrition before Yahuwah, and then said, all that Yahuwah have said we will do and be obedient. Hardly had they uttered these words of submission to Yahuwah when 120 myriads of angels descended and provided every Israelite with a crown and a girdle of glory, divine gifts, which they did not lose until they worshiped the golden calf, when the angels came and took the gifts away from them. At the same time, when these crowns and girdles of glory, a heavenly radiance was shed over their faces, but this also they later lost through their sins. Only Moses retained it, whose face shone so brightly that if even today a crack were made in his tomb, the light emanating from his corpse would be so powerful that it could not but destroy all the world. After Yahuwah had bestowed upon Israel these wonderful gifts, he wanted to precede the announcement of the Torah, but did not desire to do so while Moses was with him. The people might not say that it was Moses who had spoken out of the cloud. Hence he sought an excuse to be rid of him. He therefore said to Moses, go down, warn the people that they shall not press forward to see. Can you keep it quiet for a second? For even if one of them were to be destroyed, the loss to me would be as great as if all creation had been destroyed. Bid Nadab and Abihu also, as well as the firstborn, that they are to perform priestly duties. Beware that they do not press forward. Moses, however, desirous of remaining with Yahuwah, replied, I have already warned the people and set the bounds beyond which they may not venture. Yahuwah hereupon said to Moses, go descend and call upon Aaron to come up with thee, but let him keep behind thee while the people do not move beyond the position thou hast assigned them. Hardly had Moses left the mountain when Yahuwah revealed the Torah to the people. This was the 6th revelation of Yahuwah upon the earth since the creation of the world. The 10th and last is to take place on the day of judgment. The heavens opened and Mount Sinai, freed from the earth, rose into the air so that its summit towered into the heavens, while a thick cloud covered the sides of it and touched the feet of the divine throne. Accompanying Yahuwah on one side appeared 22,000 angels with crowns for the Levites, the only tribe that remained true to Yahuwah, while the rest worshiped the golden calf. I'm telling you, boy, I'm a Levite. I'm a Levite. It sounds like he kind of gave them a bit of what Adam and Eve had before the fall. Yes. Yeah, it is. That same light, the celestial light, and the righteousness and the glory that enveloped them, Trina. Yeah, you're right. It was a bit of that. Okay. Accompanying Yahuwah on one side appeared 22,000 angels with crowns for the Levites, the only tribe that remained true while the rest worshiped the golden calf. On the second side were 60 myriads, 3,550 angels, each bearing a crown of fire for each individual Israelite. Double this number of angels was on the third side, whereas on the fourth side, they were simply innumerable. For Yahuwah did not appear from one direction, but from all four simultaneously, which, however, did not prevent his glory from filling the heaven as well as all the earth. In spite of all these innumerable hosts of angels, there was no crowding on Mount Sinai, no mob. There was room for all the angels that had appeared in honor of Israel and the Torah. They had, however, at the same time received the order to destroy Israel in case they intended to reject the Torah. Because remember, if we go all the way back to when this was being created, and Yahuwah said aforetime before he had even created man or anything, when it was just Yahuwah and the Torah conversing, he said, if Israel does not accept you, if Israel does not accept the Torah, I will turn the entire world back to chaos. And it says that up until this time right here, all of heaven, all the earth was kept in suspense of the response that Yahuwah would receive from Israel on this day. Oh, they didn't really know how much everybody's life hung in the balance. Like, listen, the earthquake that was shaking the land with all the other nations and kings, they said, wait a minute, this happened before the flood came, because they were literally at that point, because all the other nations had rejected him. He went to every, we just read, he went to every nation. Will you accept the Torah? No, because it's going to cause us to lose the gifts we got from our Father. I'm like, y'all tripping. This is the Father of fathers who gave your father what y'all have. How can you reject him? You know, so I'm like, these nations is tripping. Father, I thank you that you counted me blessed to be born the seed of Israel. Oh my gosh, because I don't know where I would be today. I don't know where I would be today, y'all. I wonder why they felt the need to have someone keep them together. Were immediately lost as soon as Moses went away for such a short time. Yep, they were special. We need our hands held at all times. I'm telling you, Natasha, it seemed like that, don't it? Some of us, oh, if it wasn't for Yahuwah's mercy and his grace, some of us would be in the grave this day. A lot of us do need hand holding, you know. But, okay, so they were literally, at this point right here, they were literally about, if they decided to reject it, Yahuwah said, we just want to scrap it all, and we just going to change the whole world back into chaos. Like, they were at that point, and they felt it. They knew it. Even it said the earth thought that this was the time of judgment, and she began to quake and shake, because at the time of judgment, the earth has to give up all her hidden, all that have been slain, people who have been murdered, buried in the earth, the blood that has been unrighteously spilled. The earth has to bring them all up and make known everything that has been hidden into her and all the unjust blood that has been spilled. She even thought that this was time, because in essence, truly, it almost was. If Israel had said, nah, bro, we don't want your Torah. But okay, they had some kind of sense at this point. Because at times I'm like, what is y'all doing? What is y'all doing? Okay, listen. For Yahuwah did not appear from one direction, but from all four simultaneously, which, however, did not prevent his glory from filling the heaven as well as all the earth. In spite of these innumerable hosts of angels, there was no crowding on Mount Sinai, no mob. There was room for all the angels that had appeared in honor of Israel and the Torah. They had, however, at the same time received the order to destroy Israel in case they intended to reject the Torah. Okay, y'all, this is the last section we're going to read here today. Okay, the first commandment. The first word of Yahuwah on Sinai was Anochi. It is I. It was not a Hebrew word, but an Egyptian word that Israel first heard from Yahuwah. He treated them as did that king, He treated them as did that king, his homecoming son, whom returning from a long stay overseas, he addressed in the language the son had acquired in a foreign land, right? Oh, this is get good, y'all. So Yahuwah addressed Israel in Egyptian because it was the language they spoke. Like when he comes, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to start off like this. He's going to address us in the language of because that's the language we know. We've been in the land of our captors for a very long time. And so when he comes, he's going to get our attention. Listen. He spoke to them in that language because that was the language they spoke. At the same time, Israel recognized this word, Anoki, that it was Yahuwah who addressed them. For when Jacob had assembled his children around his deathbed, he warned them to be mindful of the glory of Yahuwah and confided to them the secrets that Yahuwah would hereafter reveal to them with the word Anoki. He said, with the word Anoki, he addressed my grandfather Abraham. With the word Anoki, it's A-N-O-K-I, with the apostrophe over the I. With the word Anoki, he addressed my father Isaac. And with the word Anoki, he addressed me. Know then that when he will come to you and will so address you, it will be he, but not otherwise. When the first commandment had come out of the mouth of Yahuwah, thunder and lightning proceeded from his mouth. A torch was at his right and a torch was at his left. His voice flew through the air saying, my people, house of Israel, I am the eternal, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. When Israel heard the awful voice, they flew back in their horror 12 miles until their souls fled from them. Now remember, didn't y'all just ask? Because remember, when we read the regular Bible, when Yahuwah spoke, it didn't give us these details. It just said, oh no, Moses, we don't want to hear his voice. You need to relay the message to us, right? Because this had just happened. Because Yahuwah gave them, they said it's not enough. First they said it's not enough for Moses to come relay the message. We want the king himself to come address us and come talk to us. We want to see him. Yahuwah granted them that wish. He said, okay, Moses, tell the people to prepare themselves for 2 days. I'm coming, right? And so when he came, I'm going to just read this again. When the first commandment had come out of the mouth of Yahuwah, thunder and lightning proceeded from his mouth. A torch was at his right and a torch was at his left. And his voice flew through the air saying, my people, house of Israel, I am the eternal, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. When Israel heard the awful voice, they flew back in their horror 12 miles until their souls fled from them. Listen to this. Upon this, the Torah turned to Yahuwah, saying, Lord of the world, hast thou given me to the living or to the dead? Yahuwah said to the living. The Torah said, but they are all dead. Like his voice, the awesome and terribleness of his voice caused their souls to just depart their bodies. All of them. And they all fell dead. And the Torah was like, excuse me, Father, most high, oh, most gracious, glorious King, creator of heaven and earth. Who did you give me to? To the living or to the dead? Yahuwah said, I gave you to the living. He said, all these people dead. Listen, I'm going to read it again. I'm going to just keep going. When Israel heard the awful voice, they flew back in horror 12 miles until their souls fled from them. Upon this, the Torah turned to Yahuwah, saying, Lord of the world, hast thou given me to the living or to the dead? Yahuwah said, to the living, the Torah, but they are all dead. Yahuwah, for thy sake, I will restore them to life. Hereupon he let fall upon them the dew. Hereupon he let fall upon them the dew that will hereafter revive the dead, and they all returned to life. So we know that there's going to be a dew that comes from the Most High, from heaven, and it's going to shower upon this place, and it's going to awaken and rise the dead, right? That's what he said. This is the dew that they experienced at this moment, and Yahuwah brought them all back, returned their souls to him. For that will hereafter revive the dead, and they return to life. The trembling of heaven and earth that set in upon the perception of the divine voice alarmed Israel so greatly that they could hardly stand on their feet. Yahuwah hereupon sent to every one of them 2 angels, on lay his hand upon each heart, that his soul might not depart, and to lift up the head of each, that he might behold his maker's splendor. Like after he returned their souls, he dispatched 2 angels to each and every last one of them. One of them had their hand on their head, and the other one had their hand on their heart to keep their souls within them and to keep their eyes looking on his glorious majesty. I'm like, oh, had it been me in that day. But I'm glad I wasn't there in that day. I'm glad I'm here in this day. Oh, okay. We're going to keep reading. We're going to see why it is more blessed for us to be here in this generation. It's blessed both generations, but we get to, I think with this generation, we get all the history and all the shenanigans and the foolishness that our forefathers did, which I think is going to further solidify his Torah in our hearts, right? Because that's what he said his new covenant would be, right? Or even through the Old Testament, a lot of people teach wrongly what the new covenant is. Yahuwah said the new covenant that I'm going to give to them, and he said it's not going to be like the Torah, the covenant that I gave to their ancestors, where I inscribed it upon tablets of stones. No, he didn't change anything about his law that he given us. That's what people teaching it. He changed it and he made it new. The only thing Yahuwah said that he was changing about his covenant, he said nothing about his covenant was changing. The only thing that was changing was he gave the original covenant to our forefathers written in stone. He said, but this time I'm going to take that same law, that same covenant, and now I'm going to inscribe it on your heart. And you're going to love it, and you're going to keep it, and you're going to be my people, and I'm going to be your God. That's the new covenant. That's what Yahuwah says all throughout the Old Testament. Y'all better go read that. Don't let nobody teach you that the new covenant is anything other than what Yahuwah himself said out his mouth, right? Nothing about that has changed. He's not doing away with any of it. He said, I'm taking that same law that I gave them on Sinai, and I'm going to give it to your descendants. He said, but this time I'm not going to give them tablets. I'm going to take it and I'm going to inscribe it on their very beings, in their hearts. And I believe that this is a process of inscribing his law on our hearts as we're learning about the history of all this and what they done and how they constantly went against it and all the punishment they had to endure because of it. And now we arrive at a fork in the road, right? Now in this, before he comes this time, now we have to make a decision. Will you accept the Torah? I'm like, yes, Most High, on everything that you have said. Yes, I accept and I will do, by learning what happened from the previous generations and how they constantly failed. All right, Trina, love you. It's recorded. You can look at it when you get off work. Everything that is recorded, and I'm just taking it all in, sucking it all in. I'm like, yes, what you say, I will do. I will keep every part of it, right? The trembling of heaven and earth that set in upon the perception of the divine voice alarmed Israel so greatly that they could hardly stand on their feet. Yahuwah thereupon sent to every one of them 2 angels, on lay his hand upon the heart of each, that his soul might not depart, and on to lift the head of each, that he might behold his maker's splendor. They beheld the glory of Yahuwah as well as the otherwise invisible word when it emanated from the divine vision and rolled forward to their ears, whereupon they perceived these words, will thou accept the Torah, which contains 248 commandments corresponding to the Will thou accept the Torah, which contains 248 commandments corresponding to the number of the members of the body? Let me pause and take that in just for a second. I'm going to read that again. Will thou accept the Torah, which contains 248 commandments corresponding to the number of the members of the body? They answered, yea, yea. Then the word passed from the ear to the mouth. It kissed the mouth, then rolled again to the ear, again to the ear, and called to it, will thou accept the Torah, which contains 365 prohibitions corresponding to the days of the year? And when they replied, yea, yea, again the word turned from the ear to the mouth and kissed it. After the Israelites had in this wise taken upon themselves the commandments and prohibitions, Yahuwah opened the 7 heavens and the 7 earths, and said, Behold, these are my witnesses that there is none like me in the height or on the earth. See that I am the Holy One, and that I have revealed myself and my splendor and my radiance. If anyone should say to you, Go serve other gods, then say, Can one who has seen his Maker face to face, in his splendor, in his glory, and his strength, leave him and become an idolater? See, it is I that have delivered you out of the house of bondage. It is I that cleaved the seas before you and laid you on dry land, while I submerged your enemies in the depths. I am the God of the dry land as well as the sea, of the past as well as the future, the God of this world as well as of the future worlds. I am the God of all nations, but only with Israel is my name allied. If they fulfill my wishes, I, the Eternal, am merciful, gracious, and long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and truth. But if you are disobedient, then I will be a stern judge. If you had not accepted the Torah, no punishment could have fallen upon you where you were not to feel it. But now you have accepted it, you must obey it. In order to convince Israel of the unity and uniqueness of Yahuwah, he bade all nature stand still, that all might see that there is nothing beside him. When Yahuwah bestowed the Torah, no bird sang, no ox lowed, the Ophanim did not fly, the seraphim uttered not their holy, 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 the sea did not roar, nor no creature uttered a no creature uttered a sound. All listened in breathless silence to the words announced by an echoless voice, I am Yahuwah, your God. These words, as well as the others made known by Yahuwah on Mount Sinai, were not heard by Israel alone. Sorry, y'all, I'm getting choked up trying to keep my composure here while reading this. Okay. These words, as well as the others made known by Yahuwah on Mount Sinai, were not heard by Israel alone, but by the inhabitants of all the earth. The divine voice divided itself into the 70 tongues of men, so that all might understand it. But whereas Israel could listen to the voice without suffering harm, the souls of the heathens almost fled from them when they heard it. When the divine voice sounded, all the dead in Sheol were revived and betook themselves to Sinai. For the revelation took place in the presence of the living as well as of the dead. Yea, even the souls who were not yet born were present. Every prophet, every sage received at Sinai his share of the revelation, which in the course of history was announced to them by mankind. All heard indeed the same words, but the same voice corresponding to the individuality of each was Yahuwah's way of speaking with them. And as the same voice sounded differently to each one, so did the divine vision appear differently to each. Wherefore Yahuwah warned them not to ascribe the various forms to various beings, saying, Do not believe that because you have seen me in various forms, there are various gods. I am the same that appeared to you at the Red Sea as a God of war, and at Sinai as a teacher. And that, my beautiful people, is where we are going to end today. We are going to pick up the rest of this tomorrow because it's too long to finish today. We're already at 1 hour and 28 minutes. So with that being said, beautiful people, let's go ahead and close this out. I hope y'all enjoyed that today like I did. I almost lost my composure reading through this, y'all. So, all right, y'all. Today it is Tuesday, December the 15th, 2020, day 24 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 693. We read Enoch Chapter 37, 38, and 39. And I will post the pages that we read today from the Legends of the Jews. So we're going to hop right over here to Numbers Chapter 6. And we are going to read the blessing. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow, and verses 22 to 27, which is the end of the chapter, is the blessing that Yahuwah told Moses to bless his people with. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. I'm telling y'all, every day, more and more, we see how this blessing really stands out as we have more information on what Yahuwah has said in the covenant that Israel has just accepted. This blessing that we bless Israel with means more and more and becomes more precious, right? Because Yahuwah said, when you bless my people with my name, I myself will come and bless them. All right, beautiful people, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all bright and early in the morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.